Hi, welcome to Team Woolly Sheep Reviews. In that hot weather, it was absolutely stifling, and we were away. We were actually away. We had a bit of a heat wave, and we found it absolutely unbearable inside the van. So we had fans to keep us cool, and we wanted to open the windows and let fresh air through and everything. The only thing is, mosquitoes. We were down in Pembury Park, and there was a lot of mosquito activity, and we got bitten alive. So of course, when we were coming in the van to get away from the mosquitoes were coming in the van after us. So I ended up with an insecticutor trying to kill them all that got in the van and keep the windows just slightly open, and it was stifling and it wasn't comfortable. So I started looking at, with a small van, you need ventilation. I know you can put fans in the ceiling and things like that, but with a smaller van it's not so easy because you haven't got the space and the ceiling is lower, so you use the windows and doors. So I started looking at what options there were for fly screens. So you want the door open, and to have the door open in the night and you want to watch maybe telly, a pain in the backside when you've got mosquitoes coming in at you. So it's not ideal. So I started looking at fly nets, solutions, and I've seen lots of different options. There's some clever ones with magnets and things, but what I found is there is a problem with this van, because you've got this roller on the inside. So when the door closes, you see this arm. It's on the inside of the seal. The door seal is there. So if I had a net clipped around the door, it would be a problem. And the only way I could do that is maybe have a net on the inside and try to make it work. But every time I was looking, I was hitting obstacles. So as you can see, the door seal is there, and most of the nets would stick with magnets around the outside of the door seal, but of course that presented a problem, and the runner on the bottom is on the outside. So this is a Fiat Talento, but Fiat, and it's the same as the Talento Trafic and the Vivaro. They have the runners on the outside of the bottom, but the arm goes on the inside. Obviously you've got a center runner. So that was a problem. So these clip-on nets didn't work, because you could have them on, but when you wanted to close the door, you had to take all the netting off. And taking the netting off is just faff and hassle, so not for me. I wanted something a little bit more permanent. They do an awful lot for the VWs, so the VW camper vans, everything available for them, and they seem to have the rollers and runners on the outside. So what's the solution? So the solution was, I needed custom made nets for this van. So not just this van, it would suit Vivaro, etc. But because there's so many different variants, different ages, different whatever, it's not like an off-the-shelf solution. So, and I did find the answer. And the answer was Sarah's mosquito nets. So I reached out to Sarah's mosquitoes nets and asked them, could they make me a set of nets to suit this van? Do they sell them off the shelf? Do they have to have them fitted by them? So they make custom made nets, and they kindly sent me information. After reaching out, they asked for certain measurements. So there was a host of different measurements that they needed to make sure that there was no obscure things, features on the van or things that I've built onto the van that's going to obstruct them. And they do a net solution to put on my van, to do exactly what I want to do, to be able to have them permanently installed and effectively roll them up when not in use. And I'm going to fit these nets. They've just arrived, as it happens, and I'm ready to fit them. I'm not going to do a video on fitting the nets because they're pretty straightforward. So, and if you go to their website, they have a full suite of videos on how to fit the nets. They send you this card with a QR code to the instructions on fitting the nets. On the inside there's little magnetic retainers there with poppers on, which stick on that rail. The only thing is I've got a light there, so I need to rethink where, but it does stick to the underside there. So the net is now permanently installed and easily deployed when we need it. This side, because it's not a V-dub, it's got a funny shape. So there's a bit of an allowance, a bit of extra net in here. Sarah's Mosquito nets. Check them out, give them a ring, drop them an email and get yours ordered. Like I said, there are cheap alternatives out there, but these are custom made, these fit the van, these are quite straightforward to install, but they're a permanent solution. They're not something you're checking on every now and again. If you've got a small van, it's nice to have the doors open, and in the evenings you don't want it full of flies. So if after experience the mosquitoes, then like I said, this is a no-brainer for us. The nets in the back. With this one, a little bit different. You've got poppers on the top, so I had to fix these little poppers in, space them across, so that the net pops onto them, and then it just hooks in on the rubber side seal again. So, and then trim off the surplus down the side. So again, with these, we've got zips on the side to be able to open, and this will be rolled up. So rolled up, that's how it looks. Don't even know it's there. You got the little zips going down the side, and it's all ready to be these little Velcro straps. So very ready to be dropped and deployed. 2 zips and we're protected. Because I was a bit cheeky, I asked Sarah to make me one of these. So I've now got a side window net, which I'm going to show you, a little bit different. In a nice little case is a custom made side net. Just wet these, magnets are sewn in, and it's just a case of the stickies for this side. Side mosquito net, they can't get in. Little suctions there, magnets all around. These things stick, and when you want to take it off, job done. So, but these things, they stick to everything. As you can see, it's so perfect. So you just go to the window, hang it on, sticky pads there, suction pads there, job done. Mosquito safe. And they've even added a little bit of extra cushion in there to make sure this sneaky little mozzies don't get down the gap. So good job. Thank you, Sarah. Brilliant. On a scale of 1 to 10, how easy was it to fit these nets?
This one a 7 and the back one's a 9.
There we are. Is that, how about, is that 7 as in really difficult?
No, 7 is in easy.
Right.
And then 9 in the back ones because that was really easy.
Yeah. Problem is she's only 5'1", so she really struggled. Another new campsite. Glorious weather. And time to drop the fly screens. Undo the straps. Down she rolls. Fly screen deployed. Side window net deployed. So what does this mean? We can sit inside with the lights on without getting eaten alive by the bugs. So highly recommended and absolutely A1. Just to add to this, the quality of the material is more of a rigid net. Like I said, that's been rolled up. So it's been rolled up and I've just dropped it straight down. And as you can see, it's quite a rigid net. When I say rigid, it's not your cheap rubbish, it's quite heavy gauge. So it's gonna last. And this is exactly what we've been waiting for. To have the doors open on a warm summer's evening and no worries with all the bugs coming in. And as you can see, the nets are deployed, nets are down, lights are on, no bugs getting in. Heavenly. First night trying the nets and they were absolutely amazing. Thank you. Check it out and tell them John recommended you. Thank you. Bye.